Hello guys, I am back for another video. Today we talk about what Deku gave up on being a hero. So in the last video Deku, well, after getting ready to go to UA to basically get ready for his mission, well, after talking to Nezu and All Might, which All Might already knows about the SCP Foundation, they were interrupted by a kid by the name of Tenya Ida. So, Tenji Ida explains that they're being under attack by, well, villains. So, after Izuku made it there, Izuku made a plan which involves Lilith, aka SCP, well, actually, I should just call them by their regular old names, or their nicknames in, like, the SCP universe. And by the way, Lilith is, well, Teenage Succubus, and Diane, well, is polymorphic humanoid. So, Lilith was bait for the, well, villains that are males, which Izuku killed them all. And for the ones that are, well, girls, well, Diane used her, well, illusion, well, powers to basically turn them insane and make them kill themselves. Yeah. So, when, well, when Shigaraki saw all of this, he told the Nomu to basically attack Izuku, but thanks to Izuku's, well, quick thinking, Izuku tells his blade, Quetzal, to basically bite his arm, which turned it into almost like a serpent's arm or like a reptile arm. And thanks to that, Izuku transformed into a demigod form, which Izuku killed the Nomu easily, making an attack that literally sliced him into little tiny pieces. Then after killing the Nomu, Izuku decapitated Shigaraki and ripped his heart and, well, thrown it up into the sky and basically, like, almost offered it to, well, Quetzal, just like the Mayans back then. So, after doing that, Izuku introduced himself to Class 1A, which Izuku is actually going to be, well, working as an assistant teacher to Mr. well, Mr. Aizawa. So, after that, they decide to, stay in the, UA dorms because, it will raise some suspicion, mostly because Izuku's living with Diana and Lilith, which is already, several questions. So, after Izuku does that, well, Izuku was actually told to stay in the girls' dorm, mostly because the foundation said so. And Izuku's gonna be living, or should I say sleeping in the same bed as Diane and Lilith. So, yeah. So, let's talk about what happens next. So, Izuku wakes up as he starts going to the shower to take a bath. And also wash himself because, he was pretty much sweating all night because of, sleeping with both Lilith and Diane. So, after Izuku does that, Izuku starts going off to change his clothes, changing into his regular old, SCP uniform. So, after waking up Diane and Lilith, Izuku tells them to get ready. So, Izuku starts go... wait for a second. Him and Diane and also Lilith start going to, Class 1A to get ready. So, when they made it there, they see, Aizawa sleeping. So, Izuku sits down on the student seat because, he was going to be waiting for, the rest of the students. And also, Diane is just reading a book, and also Lilith is just praying, and also reading the Bible as well. So, after waiting for a while, the students have arrived, including Bakugo Katsuki. When Bakugo Katsuki sees Izuku, he says this: "Nerd! What are you doing here, you damn quirkless bastard?" As Izuku says this. dare say that again and I'll cut your head off. As he says this. Oh, you really want to piss me off then? As the students are basically watching and waiting to see what happens to Bakugo. Because Bakugo is actually one of the most powerful actually one of the most powerful students in World Class 1A. So, when he fought Izuku, it was not a contest. Izuku won in an instant. Izuku almost slices off his leg, but merely just, well, grazes his legs. Bakugo falls down to the ground, saying, "What the hell? Why are you using a weapon?" Izuku says this. "Don't you dare say that to me, you pathetic piece of shit. Human garbage like you shouldn't deserve to become heroes." Izuku kicks him right in the face. Everybody was scared a little bit. As Aizawa wakes up, he says this. "Alright class, let's start. So, today we're gonna be learning about hero studies or whatever. So, after a while of, well, explaining what they're gonna be doing, Aizawa basically tells them that they're going to be having. Wait for a second. Aizawa basically explains that they're gonna be having a sports festival soon, so it's better for all of them to basically start training. So, when Bakugo hears that, he says this. "I'm definitely gonna win, because I'm obviously better than all of you." Everybody was just, why? Seriously, Bakugo, just stop. But Izuku steps up, as Izuku just bonks him on the head with, well, the blunt end, which is basically this. Where the, like, sigils are, the one with, like, the skull, like, a depiction of, well, Quetzalcoatl over there. This one, this part. Izuku bonks him with that part, with that part. As when he gets bonked by that part, he says this. Why did you do that? Izuku says this. "You never change, you piece of shit." As he says this. "What did you say, you damn nerd?" He gets ready to use his explosions, but when Izuku uses his sword, it starts creating wind, which, if you don't know, well, fire meets oxygen, so Izuku starts making a vacuum, which completely destroys the fire, or the explosions, which, well, he can't make explosions in that area anymore, as he says this. "What did you do with my explosions? I can't..." "How the hell did you..." Izuku says this. "Unlike you, I am calm and rational. You're ignorant, prideful, and hot-headed. That is why people don't like you. Because you're human garbage, and you know it." As Bakugo said this. "Why you? I'm gonna burn you to the fucking ground." As he gets ready to explode Izuku again, but Izuku sidesteps him and basically kicks him back into a wall, bashing his head into, like, well, not bashing his head, more like it slams his head into the wall, causing it to be stuck. Izuku pulls him out by using his, well, strength, and literally does a German suplex on him. He gets knocked out. Bakugo. Bakugo gets knocked out instantly, as both Diane and Lilith start laughing. Diane says this. Oh my god, he actually got that. Deserved that. As for Lilith, she says this. "I mean, it's a bit mean, but at least it's kind of funny." The students, mostly the boys of, like, class 1A and also the girls, they basically started cheering, saying, Finally Bakugo finally shut it up." When Bakugo, well, was knocked out, Izuku brings him to the nurse's office. As for, well, the rest of the students, they basically go home, including Izuku, wait for a second, Diane and Lilith. So, after they go back home, they started, well, getting ready for dinner. So, Izuku starts going to the grocery, to buy some groceries and some ingredients for food for their dinner. Wait for a second. So, after Izuku starts going to, to a little convenience store slash market, Izuku starts picking up all of the ingredients, basically. After a while, Izuku starts sensing something. Like, sensing somebody's watching him. Izuku, this presence almost feels something unnatural, almost like similar to an SCP, but more different. Izuku just ignored it. Izuku starts going off as when he's going back home, Izuku felt that presence again. When Izuku looks back, nobody was there. But when Izuku looks in front of him, you see something that surely shook him to the core. Unless if he's a normal person. But because Izuku was, well, working for the SCP Foundation, nothing scares him. This, whatever it looks horrifying. It looks like some sort of malnourished humanoid with pure, like, bloodshot eyes and sharp, almost bony fingers. He also seems to be walking on all fours. His eyes glowed a almost iridescent green and almost a bloodshot red. Almost. When it was looking at him, it charged forward, reeling his gigantic fingers, and gets ready to slash at him. But before Izuku can get slashed, Izuku was saved at the last minute by, well, something. It's a tall, lanky man wearing a nice suit. He has a red tie and several tentacles covering this creature as he says this. I'm really sorry. So what's your name? Izuku says this. The name's Izuku. Izuku Midoriya. So, are you some sort of SCP? Izuku wasn't, well, he didn't bring his sword, by the way. He didn't brought Quetzal. As he says this. What the heck is an SCP? As Izuku says this. You're coming with me. As he says this. Sorry, but I don't want to be annoyed. As he gets this tape recorder. As it creates, as when the tape recorder was playing, well, Izuku gets knocked out. And just from the sound. So, when Izuku wakes up, Izuku was back at his room in the dorms. As Izuku wakes up, Izuku sees Diane and Lilith. Lilith says this. Izuku, are you okay? As Izuku says this. Nothing. I can't remember. I can't remember what happened. As Diane says this. I'm guessing it's some sort of villain, or did you get knocked out by somebody? As Izuku says this. No. As Diane says this. Anyway, I made dinner. I'm not really good at it, so I'm not using any illusions, by the way. Izuku says this. Are you sure? As she says this. Yeah. Izuku gets the shock collar and shocks her as it's an illusion. Instead of like a healthy meal, it's just bags of chips and instead of like a soup, instead it's just a bowl of like like sodas basically. As Izuku says this. Seriously? As she says this. Oh come on, it just tastes so good. It's just a guilty pleasure of mine. Izuku says this. You're eating chips for dessert, okay? I guess I'll just cook it myself. As Diane starts crying a little bit, she says this. Oh, I just want to eat the chips first. Wait for a second. As Lilith says this. Anyway, I'll help you with dinner, Izuku. As Izuku says this. Thank you, Lilith. Lilith was pretty happy with, well, being near Izuku. She never actually felt like that before. It's almost similar to her, well, to a similar thing to, well, like when a guy gets attracted to her, they instantly become in love. But in her case, it's almost like it's slowly taking over. Like she's slowly getting attracted to him. Like she felt something within him. So, while Izuku was cooking, well, he gets a knock at the door. Izuku opens it as Izuku sees one of the students in class 1A. As she says this, "Hey, Diane, I wanted to give you back my..." As when she sees Izuku, she says this. Wait, Izuku, what are you doing in the girls' dorm? Izuku says this. Well, I'm living here. And she says this. Wait, what? Izuku says this. Yeah. Uh, Wait for a second. Apparently, Principal Nezu told me that I'm gonna be staying in this dorm specifically, mostly because I had to take care of these idiots. As Diane says this. Hey, I'm not an idiot. Anyway, so what do you want? As she says this. Oh, I want to give this back. As Izuku says this. Wait, shampoo? As she says this. Yeah, that... Well, Diane actually gave me that shampoo. Izuku says this. Sure, I'll give this. So, when Izuku gets the shampoo, well, Momo's face started blushing. Like, her face starts becoming a little bit red. So, after Izuku leaves, Momo starts running back to, well, her room and starts, like, squealing in the top of her lungs. Like, covering her face with, well, her pillow as she says this. I can't believe Izuku actually touched me. Because, well, she's actually, well, in love with Izuku, mostly because of his looks. Wait for a second. So, when Izuku gave, well, Diane her shampoo back, she says this. So, did Momo... Izuku says this. Yeah, she said she wanted to give you this. As she says this. Ah, thank God. Oh, I thought she would just keep it. Izuku says this. Alright. Anyway, so, Lilith, is dinner almost ready? As she says this. Yep. Thank you for teaching me how to, well, learn how to cook. So, after doing that, they started eating. After they ate, they prayed. And after that, they started going to sleep. So, because Izuku is still, well, sleeping together with both Lilith and Diane, Izuku is still pretty much awake all night. So, yeah. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. And also, it seems to be a shorter video because, well, at the time I thought of an idea for, like, well, this episode, but it never made the cut because, well, it didn't make sense. So, yeah, so, goodbye.